Do the gut and the brain talk? What is gut health? And why is it important for our body and the health of our body? Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies for people to help them on their health path. Drugs work to control symptoms, and oftentimes they do a good job. But symptoms are simply a communication effort by our body. And oftentimes we should listen to them and find out, what is the body trying to tell me? So the most prescribed medication for indigestion is actually interrupting digestion. Acid blockers prevent the body from breaking down those foods that need the acidic pH to break down, such as proteins and minerals like calcium. So if you take an acid blocker for a long period of time, you have the chance of promoting osteoporosis. So you really don't want to be taking these medications. You want to find out, why is the body presenting these symptoms? And what can I do about them? So balance is the key. I may talk about these conditions, the disease conditions, but that's not what I work with. I work with balancing the body and finding out why the body is giving us these symptoms. So digestion is absolutely the key for good health, and so is the gut. Now, digestion is a portion of gut health. There's lots of videos out about digestion. In fact, recently I posted one from Stephen Horn. It's an hour-long video, and he goes into different types of enzymes and why they're important and what part of the body they come from and how they're helping the body break down nutrients so that they can be used as fuel for the body. So that link is on my Health to Home web Facebook page. So make sure that you get involved in finding out about digestion and how you can improve it. Most acid blockers help in the short run, but they should not be taken at length because they interrupt your body's ability to break down the nutrients it needs to be healthy. So this month, March, we're talking about gut health and what that means in the long run. The gut's environment is called the microbiome. Now, if we separate those words, micro means small, and biome means ecosystem or environment. So like we live in a community, which is in a city, which is in a county, which is in a state, which is in a country. So these are all communities, and learning about how they interact and depend on each other is a good idea if you want to know more about government. Now, if you want to know more about the body and how you can make it healthy, then that's what these classes are all about, and that's what I teach. So we live on a lake, and we know what the ecosystem of the lake is like. And if they put chemicals in, we get something called algae bloom. And so the ecosystem of the lake has to be friendly. We want people to be able to enjoy it. We want the fish and turtles and life to go on in the lake, and they create an ecosystem. We have herons that eat the fish. So that's all a community. And if you have a fish tank, you understand that if you put new fish in, you may get this cloudy experience in the water. After a few days, it clears up. And that's because the water has recognized the fish, and they've become symbiotic, and they kind of say, oh, hi, how are you? Just like we do to our neighbors. So in our body, this ecosystem in the gut is called the microbiome, and it communicates with the brain through the vagus nerve. So there's more serotonin receptor sites in the gut than there is in the brain. So, people who work on serotonin reuptake inhibitors, then they should be working on is the gut, not just the brain. So we've talked about genetic material before. Well, it turns out that probiotics actually contribute to keeping that wrapper protected. Now, we've talked about the candy like being a gene, and the wrapper is the epigenome. And when we want to protect the epigenome, we do it through probiotics. So now a lot of people confuse probiotics and enzymes. In fact, the confusion comes from the media. Enzymes have like pepsin and papain and amylase and all of these different enzymes. You won't find those in probiotics. They do something totally different. So what we want to do is find out how we can be healthier, okay? And there's a variety of ways. I'm going to suggest a few today, but something I wrote about in my electronic newsletter, and you can find that on my website. If you click on the tab newsletter, you'll see the newsletter I sent out yesterday through email. You can also email me and get on my list. It's a free publication, and it comes every Monday, and generally you can read it in entirety in 5 minutes, so it's not a lengthy thing. But it keeps our mind focused on health, and I think we all need to be just like reminded that we have to focus on health. And yesterday's focus was on the gut and the brain and how they connect, and there's actually 2 videos that link to some very important information. Over the weekend, I watched a webinar on a cancer clinic in Mexico run by a Dr. Jimenez, and I'm probably slaughtering that because I'm not Spanish speaking. But anyways, he works on the alternative cancer therapies and has a tremendous success rate. And so I have a link to that. In fact, I'll link it on the webpage so that you can also see it. But he has 7 key areas that he works with to reverse cancer. And he has 4th stage cancer people coming to him on death's door. And if they're willing to go through these processes, he has a tremendous over 70% success rate in getting them better. Now, these are people who've been written off by the medical community. They've been told, go home, get your stuff in order because you're getting ready to die. We've done everything we can. And a lot of these people have been through torturous things. They've lost hair, they have been so sick. And there's wonderful videos on there of testimonials of how these people have been helped. So I will link them, and I encourage you to read about that. We've all been touched by cancer. And the big thing they talk about is get rid of the fear. You get rid of fear through faith. And it doesn't matter what your faith is. They don't go into religion. But at the core of healing is a spiritual being. And so I'm not going to go any further with that, but it's very interesting how people connect to the spirit through different things, okay? And you can do it through meditation, and it doesn't matter how you do it, but you have to understand the importance of your spiritual being. So we know that stress has a factor in many, many diseases. So I'd like you to take just a minute and do this little exercise with me. I want you to put your hands on your stomach, and I want you to say, I love you and want you to be healthy. I encourage life within you. I am creating a friendly haven for you to inhabit. Okay? And that's one of the ways we're going to encourage healthy bacteria. Good morning, Jan and Sherry. Thank you for joining me. So one of the essential oil remedies that we have at Sunshine is called Core. I always do. Oh, there we go. And Core is a very balancing blend. You can atomize it. You can mix it with an essential, or with like olive oil or hazelnut or any nut oil or whatever, and rub it on your tummy, and then go do your yoga or your Tai Chi or whatever that you do to help with meditation. You can do it before you go to bed at night. But now these you can find also on my website under Urban Encyclopedia. So if you want to know more about Core, you can simply go to my website, bornforhealth.com, and click on the side links. So Core Essential Blend contains a mixture of pure essential oils that work together to evoke a sense of serenity and relaxation emotionally, psychologically, and physically. So it encompasses body, mind, and spirit, and it helps you to get in touch, because many of us are not in touch with our body, and this helps to get us there. I lost my place here for a minute. So I'll post those links for Dr. Jimenez, and also there's a link that he is discussing some of the key ways they help people reverse cancer, and these 7 keys are principles, and 2 of those, well, one is talking about emotional health and getting in touch with the spirit. And then also he talks about probiotics, making sure that the right environment is there to create health. Because, everybody talks about disease, but what you want to do is create health, okay? Not combat disease. If you create health, you're combating disease. But one is focusing on the negative, and the other one is focusing on the positive. So we can encourage good gut bacteria through the foods we eat. So organic apples and avocados and broccoli and lots of good veggies. And I'm going to give you some tips on some other good foods. But the closer to the garden you get, the better it is. And of course, that garden should be non-chemical and as close to nature as possible. So, fermented foods actually encourage good probiotics. And one of the things I like is making my own kombucha. Now, there's lots of recipes on the internet on how to make kombucha, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I want to do is, some of them don't talk about really good ingredients. I think it's important. I think it's important to get organic tea and to use clean jars and clean cloths and so just be mindful of the video that you watch and take that into consideration. You can, after it goes through the fermentation process, you can flavor it, so you can have a variety of flavors. You can add ginger and lemon and blueberries, and I love to add Tigo, and so you can change up the flavors so that you're having a daily drink of something that's really good. By the way, if you're liking what you're hearing, thank you for that heart. Please send me some hearts. Share this with other people. I love comments, and so if you want to leave a comment, I'll be happy. If you have a question that's personal, send me an email, drmary@bornforhealth.com, and I'll be sure to get back with you on that. So fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut, those are really important for good gut health. Also, we like to sprout. Sprouts are extremely helpful. They have an abundance of nutrients that are easily absorbed. Now, these foods are really absorbed well and important for gut health. Another thing that is important for good gut health is bone broth, and it's so easy to make. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that people say, oh, I buy bone broth. Oh my goodness, you can make quarts of it in your own crock pot. You just put some organic grass-fed bones, grass-fed, organic raised animal bones like chicken or beef or even pork, heritage pork, and make some excellent bone broth. Throw in some organic carrots and celery and onions and garlic, and use this as a base for soup, for stews, for all kinds of food. I like to even put mine in ice cube trays and then pop them out as needed. Whenever I need to saute something, I'll pop out a few. It adds excellent flavor to the foods. So make sure that you're adding fermented foods and bone broth on a daily basis to support good health. Now, next week I'm going to discuss some of the conditions that arise out of an imbalanced gut. So I hope you tune in next week. We'll talk about leaky gut, H. pylori, even cancer. So that's next Tuesday, March 12th, and we'll discuss some of the things you can do to reverse some of these conditions. And you know, I think of these classes, coaching sessions, and we all need some little, okay, you can do it, atta girl, that type of thing. So follow the tickets if you are interested in any of the items that I talk about, the products. I only use Nature's Sunshine. I think it's the most highest of quality that you can get. And so follow that link, and if you're a member, you can put your member number in. If you're not a member, you can become one easily. So make sure that you're doing things every day to create health. I think it's important to have enzymes with every meal, because past the age of 45, you're not producing very many enzymes, and depending on the foods that you eat, you're not getting them in your food. So remember, enzymes and probiotics are totally different. The enzymes that I use are food enzymes. Somebody asked about that. I think it's great for people over the age of 45 because it creates the right environment to break down minerals and proteins. Children and people that have problems digesting and they've been on like Prozac or those type of things, they need to work into a proper pH. So they can take Proactizyme, which is a plant-based enzyme product, and it won't disrupt their stomach. You can also do things like ginger tea and help. But the probiotics that we use, I vary my probiotics. So like now we're on the elevated 11, and we use probiotic 11. We use Bifidobacillus bacterium. This is the one we take with us when we go on trips, or I take it on a daily basis with food because it works to repair the gut. So it's really an important part of good gut health. So, like I said, you can find my newsletter on my website. The tabs here will bring you to different areas of my website. The Bacillus coagulans is listed on the tickets, and you can find out more information on the Nature Sunshine website. So please be sure that you're taking quality supplements. And remember, the gut biome is a signaling station, and we want to give good genetic signaling so that we're not encouraging these bad genes to express. So I encourage you to keep watching the Dr. Mary's Health to Home, because at the end of the month, as I always do, the final day, Tuesday of the month, I talk about the emotional components. And so I usually work in the first one, I discuss what the subject is, how it impacts health. The second Tuesday, I discuss the health conditions that arise out of that. The third one, I usually discuss the herbs and the ways that you can help reverse or prevent different conditions from arising. And the fourth one, I work on the emotions. So it's really important for you to understand that we need proper pH with stomach acids. It's also important that we use enzymes to get that acid pH down to a 7, because we are going from a 3 down to the small intestine is like 7. It's so alkaline. And if we send food down there that is even a 5, it can cause incredible inflammation. So we need to make sure that we're taking both probiotics and enzymes so that we're improving the health of the gut. So I love to use the bone broth in all kinds of dishes. I drink the kombucha whenever I possibly can. It just takes a few days for it to ferment. It's actually kind of fun to play with. So I hope you were able to get some helpful tips today about improving your gut health, and that you share this information with other people, and that you keep focusing on good choices for better health. And thank you for viewing, and I am so glad that you took the time to learn some tips on how you can improve your health and the health of those that you care about. So this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It. Thank you for viewing.